In this video, we're going to go over some of the tools and functions in Autodesk Fusion 360 that we will use to design and model jewelry. In this lesson, we're going to talk about some of the frequently used tools. And these are the tools you're going to use when you're designing jewelry. So first, we want to make sure that the view cube is still shown here on the right. If it isn't, we go up to View and Show View Cube. And we want to make sure the toolbar is being shown here as well. View, Show Toolbar if it's not there. Okay, so some of the more frequently used tools are all going to be across the top here. First, we want to make sure that we're on Model. This is where you draw and sketch out and model the actual item that you're designing. Patch is used later when we need to make repairs before we send it off to be shipped. Sheet metal is also used later. Render is when you want to turn it into a picture. Animation is when you want to show how parts come together. Simulation, you show how parts work. CAM is if you're using a computer-aided machine and you're going to send it off to be generated. And then drawing from design or from animation. We won't be using any of these in these beginner classes. We will always be using the model. So you want to make sure the model is selected. We will frequently be using the sketch tool. So here we're going to say, create a sketch. And now we see our planes. And this allows you to pick a plane. Now you can pick a plane here, or you can pick a plane here. So if I hit top, you see how it took me to the top plane? So we're on the top plane now. And let's say we wanted to draw something that uses lines. So we use the line tool. I will click the 2 points I want for the line. And you notice, if I do this, it keeps moving. Oh no, go away. So what you need to do is hit escape. Okay, and it stops the line tool. You'll notice that when we did the line tool, another view window started over here on the right. And this gives you options. So right now it says if we unchecked here, it would take the grid away, but we want to keep the grid. The grid is a good way for you to be able to draw accurately. So we want to keep the grid, so we don't want that to go away. You can say it snaps to grid or not. You can show the profile or not, show points. So that's the endpoints. I always keep the endpoints because we sometimes need them. Once again, we're drawing. And here, this is the one a lot of people will remove. It's the little icons here to show the constraints. You can take that out if you want. Okay, so you can play around with these and see how it changes your drawings. If you ever want to get rid of this little box, you just push Stop Sketch. Then you come out of the Sketch tool. Another one that you'll use in Sketch quite often will be the rectangular. So let's say we were creating a rectangle box. We could do the 2 points, where exactly what it sounds. You make 1, 2 points, and it draws the box for you. Let's do that again because that box was pretty small. 1, 2. There we go. It draws the box for you. There are times where you might want to make a 3-point rectangle because you're trying to hit certain points, or a center rectangle. So let's, for example, you know where you want the center of the rectangle to be, but you're not too concerned about the endpoints. So this one draws it directly from the center. You hit center, you hit where you want it to start, and then it will draw it out for you. You notice how you can move it around and manipulate it. You can also go into the box and just type in whatever size you want, 39. Hit enter and it will make that for you. That's the length. You see that? Let's say, for example, with this line that we drew, we want to know how long this line is. You're going to go to Inspect, Measure, and click on it. And it's going to tell me the length. This one's 88.584 millimeters because I have my boxes set to measurements as millimeters. So we're going to close that and we're going to stop the sketch. Another sketch tool that's used quite often is the circle. Same thing with the circle. You can do 2 points or center diameter or any of these. Most of the time you're going to do it from the center. You're going to say you want your center diameter to be let's say if we were making a ring or something, we might set the center diameter to be what the size of the ring is going to be. So once again, you can type in the exact amount and it will make that happen for you. Hit escape. Oops, there we go. Let's try that again. So we're going to do the circle, type in the amount. So I wanted 40 millimeters, hit enter, and click out. So now that diameter of this circle is 40 millimeters. Okay, so our window here is getting a little full. So what we can do is you can either use the undo and just revert back, or we can just clear this by hitting the X. It's going to ask me, do I want to save? I don't want to save it, so what I'm going to do, don't save. Next, we're going to look at the Spline tool. This is one we also use quite often. Once again, we had to choose which plane we wanted to work on. Okay, you saw that. So the spline tool is if you want to make something that's kind of curvy or shaped. So like you do one point, and I do a point here. And let's say I'm making a little curved line. To get out of it, you hit the check mark, or you can hit escape. The cool thing about the spline tool is you hit select. You can go in and select these little buttons or dots and move it around. So I can make it curve sharply or do whatever I want with it. I can make it do this. So you can see how, especially in designing jewelry, when you want things, maybe you have a design that you want to be a little fluid, how this will come in handy. This is a very important tool here. Okay. Another tool that's used quite often under Sketch is the mirror tool. And so we're going to work on that one next. So first, let's get rid of this tool here. I'm going to highlight and hit delete, and it went away. So we're going to stop the sketch. It's going to bring us back to the home. We can go back to sketch, and this time I'm going to show you how to use the mirror tool. The mirror tool is really like a reflection. Like if you look in the mirror, you see a reflection of yourself. So sometimes you want to design something where all the sides look exactly the same. So you don't want to risk drawing it separately because you may not get the exact same reflection. So this is when the mirror tool comes in very, very handy. So let's start with a rectangle. Let's do that. Let's do a 2-point. Nope, let's do the line tool. Let's do the line tool. We're going to draw a shape. I'm going to work on the top plane here. And let's draw it's kind of like a random abstract shape here. And let's say I want the exact same shape. This triangle, this triangle, this triangle, these peaks on this side. I want a piece that looks exactly the same on both sides. We have drawn our first sketch, and now what we're going to do is go to the sketch tool again. We're going to use the line tool, and we're going to draw a middle line right down the middle. So this is the mirror line. So we hit the top and bottom points, beginning and end point for the sketch that we already had. Then the next thing we do is we click on this mirror line tool, mirror line that we just drew. You can control click. This is, you can next what we want to do is click on this line that we just drew. So this is the mirror line. We're going to right click it and hit normal construction. Turns it into a dotted line. So now it's the mirror line. We're telling the software that this is the line we want you to use as a guide to create the other side. We now go to sketch, mirror, and here the mirror dialog box pops up. It's going to ask you to select The object, there's already one selected. That's not the one we want. So we want to unselect it. And now I want to make sure that I'm selecting these lines. Okay. And then the mirror this is the mirror line that we created. And voila, the other side is immediately created for us. We hit OK. Once again, if you don't want to see all those little icons, you can take them off that way by undoing show constraints. Okay. You can stop sketch. Brings you back to the home view. So now we've created an object that's exactly the same, it's identical on both sides. This, once again, is a tool that is very, very useful. Now that we have gone through and looked at some of the more frequently used tools, these are the frequently used tools in Fusion 360 that you will use if you're trying to design and model jewelry. We're now ready to move forward and start using those tools to actually make jewelry pieces. I would suggest that you play around with it a little bit and practice using some of these tools. Let's get started.